UN headquarters are in New York. So he questioned that United Nations was formed, when after the Second World War, so that there will not be any further war, and there will not be any more disintegration of the countries. But in 1945, when the United Nations was formed, there were less than 50 countries. And now how many countries are there? More than 100 countries. So has United Nations succeeded in its mission? The Prabhupada's question, is it United Nation or is it disintegration? Why? It brings us, that is what the politicians do not have any answer. You see, Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin, after so much of fanfare, they met. But what is the result? What is the outcome? Nothing. It has become even more chaotic. It has become even more complex. So there cannot be any brotherhood in this universe. To become brothers, we need one thing in common. What is that? If I may ask? Huh? Our interest, no. Our interest may be varied. Every individual will always have varied interest. Trust in whom? Trust where? Think even deeper. What will make brotherhood work or sisterhood work in this world? If you see the last 100 years, has it succeeded or failed? What is the result? Huh? Miserably failed. Not failed, miserably failed. So what could bring brotherhood? When India became independent, we said Hindu Chini bhai bhai. Then what happened? They fought. And since then, that brotherhood is gone for a toss. And they are our permanent foes. Hindu, Muslim bhai bhai. What happened to that brotherhood? It has been lost forever. What to speak of that kind of relation between different communities, even the brothers in the same family? What kind of relationship do they share? Because one thing is missing. One thing which we want to bring in the center, which will solve everything else. This is what Krishna is speaking. This is what we discussed in the last session. Yeah, that is true. But how we can have love amongst each other? When we have a common father or a common mother. When we have a common father, then only we can be brothers. Right or wrong? So Krishna is bringing that universal fatherhood here in his universal form. Last time we discussed, there are many, many kinds of worshippers of the Supreme Lord, varied worshippers. They may be called as admirers, those who worship. And the second class is called the antagonistic or the atheist, who do not accept the authority of the Lord. So we are discussing among those who have acceptance. So they are also of varied classes and types. So one of the type is those who consider themselves to be God. They consider themselves one with the God and they worship themselves. Ekatvena. They are called Ahangropasana. So they are the lowest. They are the lowest type. Then second is Bahuda Vishuto Mukham. In the 15th verse, we discussed that 9.15. Gyan yagyena chapiyanne yajanto mamupasate. Ekatvena. So those who consider themselves to be the same as God means, they consider themselves to be spirit soul. At least they are transcendentally. They don't consider themselves body or they don't consider themselves mind. But they do not consider the supreme position of the Lord. They consider their position and the supreme position to be the same. Like a common man. If you think that I am also citizen of India and Prime Minister is also citizen of India. So we both are same. What privilege does the Prime Minister have as compared to me? I am the same. Today he is Prime Minister, tomorrow I can be the Prime Minister. But just by his declaring, are they the same? No. Vikalpa of difference. So Ekatvena and then Prithaktwena. Today we will discuss the Prithaktwena. Prithaktwena means those who consider others also to be the same as the Supreme Lord. So we will discuss who are these others. And the third was Bahuda Vishtomukha. So that we discussed last time from verses 16 till 19. So before we dive into the depth of Bhagavad Gita, we will recite the invocation prayers. These invocation prayers bring us closer to the Supreme Lord by our prayerful request. The Supreme Lord enables us to enter into the mystery of Bhagavad Gita, because this is Rajavidya. This is the king of all knowledge, and along with the Rajavidya, it is Rajguhyam. It is extremely secretive. It is very confidential. Although everything is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, but it cannot be accessed. It cannot be realized without the proper attitude. So the attitude is of gratitude. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Namando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hariti Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Nitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So these three categories of worshippers who are imbued with knowledge. So the first category is, as I said, who consider the self to be the same as the Supreme. They are the lowest. Then anterim is those who consider any other form of to be the same with the Supreme Lord. Mainly these are the demigod worshippers. We will discuss about that category. But the highest among these three is those who consider the universal form, the Vishwarup of the Lord. So they see the Supreme Lord in his creation. So that we have discussed, that how do they see? That was from verse number 16 to 19, that they see that the Supreme Lord has to be the sacrifice. There are many worshippers, you see, particularly the Arya Samajis. What they do is how they worship the Supreme Lord by offering various sacrifices. Whatever their ritual is, they will offer sacrifice. Whatever be the occasion, they will perform sacrifice. That is one way. Yeah. And Krishna further said that I am the goal, I am the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation. So they see the Supreme Lord in his creation. but they do not see him as the creator. This is the incompleteness of their knowledge. And now Krishna talks about the category which sees the Supreme Lord equal to as other demigods. So this is from verse number 20. This section is from 20 to 25. We will see how many verses we can discuss today. So I'll repeat the verse. I'll recite and you can repeat. Traividya mama soma paput papa. It's not very difficult. Sit properly, Prabhu. This is not a leisure time. This is not a story book. This is the knowledge being given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The spiritual aspects, to the extent you respect, it will unfold. Otherwise, it will never unfold. It will remain hidden. Like ourself, our soul. Can we see the soul? No. We don't have that vision. We don't have that purity to see. Similarly, the knowledge which is contained in this book, as I said, is unlimited. And with our limited mind and intelligence, how can we access? So what we need to take refuge by respect and praise. To the extent we have that devotional mood, to that extent this knowledge will reveal. Like I have given so many times example, our teacher gives the example. In the milk you have ghee, in the milk you have butter, in the milk you have cheese. But can you taste it by drinking milk? No. You have to churn it. Then only you can receive it. So please try to repeat. It is not very difficult. Traividya mama soma paput papa. Yagerištva svargatim prarthayante. Te punyam asadya surendra lokam. Ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan. One more time. Traividya mam soma paput papa. Yagnerishtva svargatim prathayante. Te punyam asadya surendra lokam. Ashnanti divya divideva bhogan. Try. Recite. Oh, very good. Go ahead. Traividya mam soma paput papa. Yagnerishtva svarvagatim prarthayante. Traipunyam asad surendra lokam. Ashnanti. Ashnanti devya divideva bhog. See, the youngest member has recited. Very good. Good attempt. All of you have much more experience and knowledge than him. Recite. Recite. Shut off your hesitation. You want to recite? And give the mic to them. Traividya mam soma paputa papa. Yagnerishtva svarvagatim prarthayante. Te punyam asad surendra lokam. Ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan. Okay. So Krishna is speaking about those who are the official students of the Vedas, the Traividya. Vedas are divided into three. Now they are being classified into four by Vyasadeva, but originally Vedas were in three. Yud, Sam, and so there were three. And Atharva Veda has been added later. Rig, Sam, and Yajur. Rig, Sam, and Yajur. So this is Traividya. So you have heard the title Trivedis. There are Trivedis and there are also Chaturvedis. There is also Divedi. So Divedi means one who knows two Vedas. Trivedi means who knows three Vedas. And Chaturvedi means who knows all the four Vedas. But actually, one doubts what is their knowledge. They may have the title, but how much of the knowledge they have. So Traividya means those who are having knowledge, those who study the Vedas. And Somapaha. Sompa is a drink. It's the beverage of the demigods. Somaras. Every liquor company advertises that what they are selling is Somaras. And people are so foolish, they pay and buy. And they think that they are drinking Somaras. After drinking, what they get? They get hangovers. They don't get a taste of Somaras. But those who are actually studying Vedas, they can taste the Somaras. So Traya Vidya Mam. Mam Krishna is saying me. But in an indirect way. In a imperfect way. So Traya Vidya Mam. So they are studying the three Vedas and they are drinking the Somapa and they are Puta Papaha. Puta means purified and Papa means sin. So one who has been purified of sin, he can study the Vedas. And while one is studying the Vedas, he can experience the higher taste, which is the Somaras. That is the beverage of the demigods. And what they perform? Yagne Rishtva. They perform Vedic sacrifices. And Swarvagatim Prarthayante. And what is the purpose of performing? Why they are studying the three Vedas? Why they are performing the sacrifices? So that they can go to the heavenly planets. Why people want to go to the heavenly planets? So that they can enjoy more. What they cannot enjoy here on the earthly planet, the aspiration is that after leaving this body, they can go to the heavenly planets to enjoy the celestial pleasure. Te punyam asadya surendra lokam. Because they have profuse piety. Profuse piety how? Because they are studying the Vedas, they are performing the sacrifices, they are free from the sins. There are only two things. If you perform good karma, you get piety. If you perform bad karma, you get papa, which is sinful reaction. So because they are performing piety, so they punyam asadya surendra lokam. They are elevated to go to the Surendra lokam. Surendra is Indra. Indra lokam. So those, see the translation, those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me in that. Purified of all sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planets of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. This is the aspiration of everyone, those who are following the Dharma. Because Dharma, the four pillars of Dharma is normally Dharma, then they want Artha. Artha is money, resources, assets. Why? For fulfilling Kama, their material desires. And then finally, when they don't find any solace in material desires, then what the aspiration is to get? Moksha is liberation. But today, in today's world, nobody is thinking of Dharma and nobody is thinking of Moksha. But everybody is thinking of Artha and Kama. So if you see deeply, so all these aspirants, they are performing a sacrifice with the aspiration to achieve the heavenly planets, to fulfill their own material pleasures. Okay, Prabhupada is explaining. The word Traividya refers to the three Vedas, Sama, Yajur, and Riga. So these were the three Vedas. A Brahmana who has studied three Vedas is called a Trivedi. Anyone who is very much attached to knowledge derived from these three Vedas is respected in society. Of course, it was there when the culture, the Vedic culture was there. But nowadays, that culture has been lost. Unfortunately, there are many great scholars of the Vedas who do not know the ultimate purport of studying them. So people are studying Vedas. Vedas means the body of language. Veda, the word Ved means knowledge, Gyan. So Vedas means it is containing all knowledge, all branches, all doctrines of knowledge. So those who are studying, those who are great scholars of Vedas, they do not know the ultimate purpose or purport of studying them. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that what is the purpose of studying Vedas? Is to know the Supreme Lord. Who is the Supreme Lord? That is Krishna. Krishna says, Vedeshta sarve ahameva vedyam. Like if somebody is performing job, so what is the purpose of performing job? But he must have pay. He must become prosperous. If he is not becoming prosperous, if he is not getting pay, what is the point in doing job? So if one does not come to the conclusion that who is the Supreme Lord, then all his study is of no use. Prabhupada is saying they do not know the ultimate purport of studying them. Therefore, Krishna herein declares himself to be the ultimate goal for the Trivedis. Actual Trivedis take shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and engage in pure devotional service to satisfy the Lord. So those who are actually Trivedis, they are not aspiring to go to the heavenly planets. They are not aspiring to drink the somaras, or they are not hankering after godly delights. So those who are actually Trivedis, those who are situated in knowledge, their aspiration is to take shelter of the Supreme Lord and to satisfy Him by service. So how one can begin this path? Prabhupada gives this revelation. He says devotional service begins with the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the first thing to perform is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is actually dharma. What kind of dharma it is? This is the eternal dharma. There are two types of dharma. One is the eternal dharma, which is the dharma of the soul, which is called the Sanatan dharma. Sanatan means which is eternal, which can never be changed. The propensity of the soul is to love, as some of you said. But how do you express love? By just speaking. There are so many expressions in the words, but do they stay? So what is the actual expression of love? Is sacrifice. To the extent you love someone, to that extent you are ready to offer sacrifice. But in today's DNA age, there is no question of sacrifice because the relationship is imbued with selfishness. Yes, there is one expectation that the other will sacrifice for me, but I will not sacrifice. That is why every relationship runs into trouble. So we have the greatest problem today everyone is facing is relationship. Because there is no element of love. Because if there is an element of love, what will be natural? The element of sacrifice. And how do you know the person is sacrificing for your will? Will he be agreeing to sacrifice? That he will serve you without any expectations or without any condition. So devotional service means expression of love for the Supreme. And how this love begins? By sacrifice. And what is the sacrifice? Sacrifice is to chant his name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita just few verses back. We heard Krishna says that Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. Satatam means constantly, without interval, without any interruptions. So Krishna says chant, and what our mind says, can't. We will not chant. This is our love. And then we want Krishna to do all favors for us. Why is he not hearing me? Why is he not fulfilling my aspirations? So this is very important. Prabhupada is saying here, very important, that devotional service begins with the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So what we have to do, we have to go beyond the boundary, the limits of our mind. Actually, if you see, we remain predominantly on the mental platform. Our driving force, our discrimination is hijacked by our mind rather than intelligence. So whatever the mind desires, we are completely helpless to do what the mind desires. So how to go beyond the mind? When one comes on the spiritual platform. By chanting, we come immediately to the spiritual platform, crossing the sensual platform, the mental platform, the intellectual platform, and also the egoistic platform. So chanting is most important. Otherwise, we will remain on the, either we will remain on the sensual platform or we will remain on the mental platform. So Prabhupada says devotional service begins with the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and side by side trying to understand Krishna in truth. So what we are doing from Bhagavad Gita? What is the attempt? Trying to understand Krishna in truth from whom? From the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. That truth which will never change. There is one very famous biography. You must have heard the name. My Experiments with Truth. Have you heard? One great national leader wrote this book, My Experiments with Truth. But is the truth to be experimented? What one has to do with the truth? Accept it, apply it, and realize it. So he had a very fateful end. Why? Because the application of Bhagavad Gita was missing. Krishna says, Satatam Kirtayantam. Our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada wrote to him after India became independent that you are such a big source of inspiration for the entire country. The entire country follows you. And now the country has become independent. Now kindly give up your political will and preach everyone the principles of Bhagavad Gita. But somehow it was not accepted. So very important that one must accept this devotional service and chant. And side by side try to understand. Otherwise, one will remain an official student. Official student will not gain much. Official, you understand? Only in the namesake. But there is no substance. There are two things. One is the form and the other is the substance. So as we see artificial intelligence, now this is the world of AI. AI, artificial intelligence. So what will artificial intelligence have? Only form and no substance. So when the substance is missing, then there cannot be any satisfaction of the heart. The satisfaction of the heart is beyond one's sensual and mental platform. One has to come to the spiritual platform. Because what is there in the heart which has to be satisfied? What is there in the heart? Our ego, which is to be satisfied. Our intelligence, which is to be satisfied. What is to be satisfied? What is there in the heart to be satisfied? Truth. What is that truth? The soul proper. The soul, the self, which is there in the heart. So how the heart can be satisfied when one has not touched upon one's soul? So very important is that one must begin devotional service. Savay pumsa paro dharmo yado bhakti radokshade. So the highest principle of religion is to perform devotional service. Because this will satisfy the heart. One may try anything and everything. One may try anything. One may become, in the highest elevation of power or highest elevation of opulence or highest elevation of strength. But one cannot experience any satisfaction. Why? Because one is not connected with the heart. You see, there's so many examples now. You see the most powerful man. The world is calling him an orange man. He's completely mad and crazy. He does not know how to use his power. And who cares for his power? Does anyone care for his power? We care a damn. He may be whatever. So the point is, why? Because there is no connection with the real self. So Prabhupada is saying, unfortunately, those who are simply official students of the Vedas become more interested in offering sacrifices to the different demigods like Indra and Chandra. So this category of people, they worship the demigods, considering the demigods to be the supreme God. Of course, any and every worshipper is worshipping his worshipable deity, considering him to be the supreme. But just by considering himself as the worshipper of the Supreme, he does not worship the Supreme. He must know who is the Supreme. By such endeavor, the worshippers of the different demigods are certainly purified of the contamination of the lower qualities of nature and thereby elevated to the higher planetary systems or heavenly planet. So see, there are three modes in this material creation. The lowest mode is the mode of ignorance, which we say as tamogun. So in the tamogun, the living entity in the human form of life is completely bewildered. He does everything which will actually harm him. And then there is the mode of passion. So most of the people are found in the mode of passion. What is the symptom of the mode of passion? That there are unlimited desires. And one puts in a lot of endeavor. And what are the other symptoms of mode of passion? Anyone knows? Krishna gives a lot of detail. When we will come on the 14th chapter, the full chapter is dedicated. Three modes of nature. That there is too much of hankering for sensual pleasures. So that is what we see profusely. That is mode of passion. So if one is in mode of passion, one remains in this earthly planet. Again and again he comes back, takes birth, and pursues his unfulfilled desires. In the mode of ignorance, the person is completely oblivious of his human goal, and he glides down to the lower species of life. But the highest mode is the mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, there is elevation because of knowledge. Elevation in the consciousness of the individual is due to knowledge. So here, these worshippers, they are worshipping the demigods and performing sacrifices, and they are studying Vedas. So they are purified, so they come to the mode of goodness. Goodness also binds by two aspects. One, there is happiness. In the mode of goodness, there is happiness. And second, there is purification by knowledge. But also, what is the binding factor? That they feel they are proud. They are better than others. And this material happiness, it binds them. When we'll come to the 14th chapter, we will discuss that in detail. So here, these demigod worshippers, those who are offering sacrifices to Indra and Chandra, they can elevate themselves to the higher planetary system or the heavenly planet, because that is their aspiration. And what they do, they follow the Vedas. They are following the Vedas, which is an authorized process. So they can go to the higher systems or the heavenly planets known as the Maharlok, Janalok, Tapalok. So there are 14 planetary systems. You've heard? There are 14 planets. The Earth is the middle planet. There are 7 planets which are above the earthly planets, which are called the higher planet. And there are 7 planets which are below the earth planets, which are called the lower planets. So, or it is called Bhu Bhuvar Swaha. So Bhurlok is the earth, earthly planet, and Bhuvar is between earth and between Swarga, between the heavenly planets. And then from Swargloka and beyond Swargloka are these planets. These planets are for those who are very, very pious, those who are very purified. So they can go to these 3 planets, which is Maharlok, Janaloka, and Tapaloka. What is the quality of these 3 planets? That when there is dissolution, when there is devastation of the universe, these 3 planets are not devastated. There are 2 types of devastation. One is the complete, when the lifespan of Brahmaji is complete. and the other is when the day of Brahma is come. So when there is partial devastation, so Maharlok, Janalok, and Tapaloka, they are not devastated. They remain. So one can elevate by this process of studying the Vedas and performing sacrifice and demigod worship. One can go even up to the heavenly planets and even higher than these planets, which are Maharlok, Japaloka, and once situated on those higher planetary system, one can satisfy his senses hundreds of thousands of times better than on this planet Earth. Because what is there? There is a godly delight. All kind of profuse opulence is there. But what happens after a prolonged period of enjoyment? Are they able to continue that enjoyment forever? This is the next verse. What happens to them? Krishna gives. So why Krishna says that this kind of worship is actually immature? 21st verse. Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam shine punye martalokam vishanti evam trayi dharmam anuprapanna gataagatam kam kama labhante तेतां भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालम् क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति एवं त्रयी धर्मम् अनुप्रापन्ना गतागतं काम कामा लभन्ते. So te tvam bhuktva, after profuse enjoyment. Bhuktva means to enjoy profusely. What were they able to enjoy? Swargalokam vishalam. They have profusely enjoyed for a prolonged period. And what they have done? They have exhausted all their pious credits. Shine punya. All the piety which was there, it has been consumed. Then Martha Lokam Vishanti. They are forced to come down again. Where? On the Martha Loka. Earthly planet is also called as the Martha Loka, because everyone, whoever takes birth here, he has to die. You have seen the game of snake and ladder, Samp City. Khela hai? The Samp City is coming from here. This is what people are playing in. They are elevating to the heavenly planets. After so much of performing sacrifice, austerity, study of Vedas, performing all pious credits, what max they can do? They can go to the heavenly planets. And in the heavenly planets, they get the opportunity to enjoy. And when their piety is over, then they are kicked out. They are thrown back again to the Martyloka. So this is what is happening again and again. So when they have, see the translation, when they have thus enjoyed the vast heavenly sense pleasures and the result of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principle of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. So they are not liberated. They are not liberated. What happened? Pankha band kar rahe? Band kar do. It is becoming cold? हाँ. बंद कर दो AC. Switch off the AC. नहीं, switch off that AC. कर दे. Okay. You see, this is everything is based on sense perception. If there is little bit of more temperature and there is no AC, we are uncomfortable. If there is less temperature and there is less heating, we are uncomfortable. So we are completely driven by our senses. And Krishna, the first instruction he gives in the Bhagavad Gita is to be able to overcome the sense perception. Okay. So what these people do, they remain in the cycle of birth and death. Actually, there is no pleasure. By one who is within the cycle of birth and death, what pleasure can he have? Every pleasure is only short-lived. Because finally, when the nail of death comes, so that is the greatest suffering. And after death, there is again birth. So these are the two extreme suffering stages of every living entity. What is that? Death and birth. Just imagine a living entity is encased within the womb of the mother for 9 months. If we are told to live in this room for 9 hours after everyone leaves, what will be our situation? How comfortable will be there? We will not agree for it. So the living entity suffers excessive pain, both at the time of death and also at the time of birth. But the point is that we forget. The material modes, the material creation is in such a way that whatever painful experiences we have, what we do, we forget. And whatever little pleasure which we have just perceived, we remember. So that is why again and again we try to pursue the same path. Not having cognizance that along with pain, there is also, with pleasure, there is pain. So this is the position that again and again one is forced to be in the cycle of repeated birth and death. So that is how these worshippers, they do not get salvation. They do not get liberation. They are pushed into the same cycle of birth and death. For one who is promoted to the higher planetary systems, enjoys a longer duration of life and better facilities for sense enjoyment. Why do people want to go to America? Why they want to go to Australia? Or why they want to go to the West? For this purpose. But there is better facilities for sense enjoyment. That is it. Why do you want to migrate? I have stayed in foreign countries in Europe for some time. When I was very young, from 94 to 96, I found no pleasure. Of course, I was an odd person out because I was not pursuing what others pursue. I was not interested in drinks. I was not interested in non-veg. So I didn't find any pleasure in it. Of course, there was some bank balance because they were paying me in dollars. But actually, if you go to any part of the world, any planet of the world, these four things are your eternal companion. What is that? Birth, death, old age, and disease. Is anyone free from these four defects? Wherever you go, you will find your eternal companion in these four things. So how can you have actual pleasure? So, here Prabhupada is speaking that why people want to elevate to the higher planets for better sense enjoyment. Yet one is not allowed to stay there forever. One is again sent back to this earth upon finishing the resultant fruit of pious activities. Like somebody hits a jackpot and he gets $1 million and he starts spending. So what will happen? One day, all of his jackpot will be over and he'll become a pauper. The same situation. He who has not attained perfection of knowledge, as indicated in the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadhiya Siyataha, or in other words, he who fails to understand Krishna, the cause of all causes, becomes baffled about achieving the ultimate goal of life and is thus subjected to the routine of being promoted to the higher planets and then again coming down. So if one has not come to the conclusion, if one has not reached the perfection, so again he has to encircle within the cycle of birth and death. So if one achieves Krishna, then he gets out of this cycle. So one has not understood that what is the purpose of all the Vedanta. Veda means knowledge and Anta means the end, or it also means the conclusion. So what is the Vedanta actually? Vedanta is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. What is the purpose of studying Veda? Is to come to the conclusions, to come to the perfection. So if one does not achieve Krishna or one does not attain Krishna, all his effort has gone in vain. This is what Prabhupada is explaining here, that Vedanta Sutra means Janmadi Asyataha. Janma means birth, Adi means the origin. So Krishna is the origin of everything which is emanating in this material world and also in the spiritual world. So one who has come to know this fact, or one who has come to connect with the Supreme Lord as the cause of all causes, then he can achieve perfection. Otherwise, he is subjected to be baffled. And again, he has to come back to this material world. Prabhupada is giving an example here that he becomes baffled about achieving the ultimate goal of life and is thus subjected to the routine of being promoted to the higher planet and then again coming down as if situated on a Ferris wheel. You all know Ferris wheel, that big swing which goes in circles. So, however high it may go, but ultimately where it has to come? On the ground. Which sometimes goes up and sometimes comes down. The purport is that instead of being elevated to spiritual world, from which there is no longer any possibility of coming down, one simply revolves in the cycle of birth and death on higher and lower planetary system. So unless until one reaches the spiritual world, one goes beyond the material world, one has to take birth again. One should better take to the spiritual world to enjoy an eternal life full of bliss and knowledge and never return to this miserable material existence. Krishna has already spoken about it in the 8th chapter. Anyone remembers where he spoke in the 8th chapter? 8th chapter, Krishna has already spoken this verse. 8.15. He says, after attaining me, the great souls. See, the page number 381 in my book. 8th chapter and verse number 15. Just go a little back. The 8th chapter, verse number 15. So Krishna has already declared that Mamupetya punarjanma dukhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. That after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries. This is the temporary nature of this material world. Everything which begins, it has to end. And however you may achieve success, but ultimately, what is the result? Is death. This is a complete failure. So, which is full of, because they have attained the highest perfection. So, if one remains within this material world, so again and again he'll be subjected to these 4 things. So, actually speaking, Bhagavad Gita gives that there are only 4 problems to be solved in human life. There is no economic problem. There is no relationship problem. Or there is no other problem. There are only 4 problems to be solved in this human form of life. What are the problems? Problems of birth, problems of death, problems of old age and disease. If you can solve this problem, then your human life is success. And if you do not solve this problem, then your human life is failure. Now tell me, what is the percentage of success of human life? What is the percentage of success of human life or human race? Not even 0.1%. Not even 0.1%. Does anyone has this, any formula to overcome death? Or to be disease free? Or to be free from old age? This formula is given in Bhagavad Gita. This principle is given only in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna will speak. I mean, he will speak about the 3 modes. He says, Gunaneta tatititrim dehi deha samudbhava. You want to see the verse? This is 14th chapter and 20th verse. 14th chapter and 20th verse. So many places Krishna is giving this principle. That when the embodied being, is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body. Found it? Page number is 621. 621. In my book, it is 621. Maybe the chapter number is 14 and verse number is 20. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and that distress, and enjoy nectar even in this life. So what one becomes? One becomes liberated. How to become liberated? Going beyond the three modes. So which mode we are discussing right now? The mode of goodness. Even goodness is binding. Of course, passion is binding and ignorance is degrading. But even goodness is binding. So how one can transcend the three modes? By coming on the spiritual platform. And how one can come on the spiritual platform? By chanting Hare Krishna, beginning with chanting Hare Krishna. But we only request people to chant. And what is the response? We can't chant. We don't want to chant. Then how to help? Then we remain within the purview of birth, death, old age, and disease. That means suffering, inevitable suffering. So here Prabhupada is explaining that even if one is not coming to this conclusion, that the purport is that instead of being elevated to the spiritual world, just see the end part of 21st verse that we are studying, 9.21, from which there is no longer any possibility of coming down. So only if we go to the spiritual world, then we can be free from. The spiritual world means, it is called Vaikuntha. Kuntha means anxiety. Kuntha means frustration. So Vaikuntha means that is without anxiety or without frustration. So that is the spiritual world. Material world means it is Dukhalaya. Dukhalaya means is a place of suffering. Like if you go to Pustakalaya, what you will find there? Only books. If you go to medicine shop, what you will find? Medicines. If you come to Dukhalaya, what you will find? Sukha. You'll find only Sukha. It's all dry. There is no juice. Everyone is looking for rasa. That juice. What is that juice? That juice is that loving relationship. So where their love will come? When you come in connection with Krishna. If you are disconnected with Krishna, you cannot experience this rasa with anyone. So here Prabhupada is saying, one should better take to the spiritual world to enjoy an eternal life full of bliss and knowledge, and never return to this miserable material existence. So material existence means only misery. And what we are desiring is a bliss or unlimited happiness. So that is not possible. That is not possible in this material world, in material relationships. And those who are worshipping the Supreme Lord, so Krishna is contrasting. So those who are worshipping demigods, what will be the result? Shine Punne Martalokam Vishantu. By worshipping the demigod, they can be elevated. They can go to the heavenly planets. They can have some enjoyment there. But ultimately, where they will land? In the same place where they were. They cannot have any permanent relief. Whereas those who are worshipping the Supreme Lord, 22nd verse, I'll take this verse also. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogashamam vahami aham. Very, very important verse and very, very hope-giving verse. The Krishna is saying, one more time, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogashamam vahami aham. One line you must have heard. Yogashamam Vahamiyam. It has been copied from Bhagavad Gita. Actually, Yogashem can only be done by Krishna. So I'll explain this word. Because I'm saying, on the other hand, uh, those who are my worshippers, and what kind of worshippers? Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. Ananyas, Anya means others. And Ananyas means without having other. It means having full focus. Having full focus on whom? On the Sukmam, on me. Krishna says. Chintayanto means who is always contemplating or who is always deliberating. Here Prabhupada is using the word concentrating. It's the same thing. Who is always focusing on me. And ye jana, such person, paryupasate. Paryupasate is worship. So those who are always thinking of me, thinking of Krishna means not sitting idle. Thinking of Krishna means thinking of what will please Krishna. What will please Krishna? What Krishna has instructed us. If we follow that, it will please. What will please the mother and father? How can the son know that he is, or the daughter know that he is pleasing the mother and father? By obeying them. Simple. If he says that I want to make you happy, but I don't want to follow you, but I don't want to obey you, I don't want to respect you, is that any kind of service? No. So Krishna is saying those who are constantly thinking with exclusive devotion, ye jana parishpad. For them, for such worshippers, those who are worshipping me with full concentration, with full focus on me, how to please me. For them, I, Nitya Abhijuktaname, they are always constantly engaged in my worship, in my devotion. What I do is yoga, shemam, vahami aham. Yoga means that whatever they require. Shemam means to give protection. And vahami means to bring or to carry. Krishna says, I personally protect what they have and I provide what they lack. See, but those who always worship me with exclusive devotion. In the case of previous worshippers, they were worshipping others, considering Krishna to be equal to them. That is different category. Krishna is talking about the exclusive devotees, those who are only worshipping Krishna. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditation on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they. Can LIC do that? Can LIC bring back life? Can it do any good to the person who has been insured? Can LIC do any good to the person who has been insured? No. It can only give some compensation in terms of money. But Krishna says that I preserve what they have and I carry what they lack. This is Yogashamam. So those who are devotees, those who are exclusive devotees of Krishna, Krishna takes charge. Krishna takes responsibility of not only their maintenance, of their sustenance, of everything. Everything Krishna says that just depend on. If we depend on Krishna and if we worship Krishna, Krishna takes this. See, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives so much. Bhagavad Gita is a book of assurance because it is spoken to a Kali Yuga Jiva. And what is the speciality of Kali Yuga Jiva? He is always doubting. He is never convinced. He is always doubting. So Krishna is saying, Yoga Shema Vahamiya. One who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours a day. This is a very high level of consciousness. That means one who is completely in love with Krishna. Whom do we think about the most in our life? Whom we have attachment for. We only think about those people with whom we have any attachment. Those we have no connection. Do we ever think about them? No, we don't. So how to think about Krishna is one who has attachment for Krishna. And what is that attachment? Is being engaged in devotional service. By hearing. So you are all performing devotional service. How? By the process of hearing. What we are hearing? Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna. Chanting, which is called Shravanam, and chanting is called Kirtanam. So if you perform Shravanam and if you also do Kirtanam, then there is possibility of Smaranam, remembering Krishna. If there is no Shravanam and there is no Kirtanam, there is no possibility of remembering Krishna. So how can we remember Krishna if we have not performed Shravanam and Kirtanam? Offering prayers, it is called Vandanam. Worshipping is called Archanam. Serving the lotus feet of the Lord is called Padasevanam. Rendering other services, cultivating friendship, it is called Sakhyam, and surrendering to the Lord, it is called Atmanivedanam. So these are the 9 limbs. It starts from Shravanam. Does it require any qualification? No, even a child can hear. Such activities are all auspicious and full of spiritual potencies, which makes the devotee perfect in self-realization, so that his only desire is to achieve the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We live in temple, we see so many visitors come. On Sundays, there are thousands and thousands of visitors who are coming, flocking to the temple. So why do people come to the temple? What aspirations they have? What desire do they have in their heart? They all come to see the Lord, to ask for some benefits, to ask for some boons, to ask for some rewards. They never ask that, my Lord, what is your desire? They only ask one thing, please hear my desire and fulfill my desire. So they are not devotees. Are they devotees? No, they are not devotees. What are they? One sense good, beggar, but they don't consider themselves beggar. You know what they consider? They consider themselves to be smart businessmen. They will offer Krishna 11 rupees and in return want 11 crores. Or they will say, you know, मैं आपके मंदिर में आया हूँ, 5 दिन आऊंगा. You please fulfill my this aspiration or my this desire. And when the desire is fulfilled, they'll forget. They will never come. So, but the devotees has only one desire to achieve the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, glorious are those who inquire that what is the desire of the Supreme Lord. Because if you fulfill the desire of the Supreme Lord, all our desires are automatically fulfilled. Prabhupada gives the example, if you have a 500 rupee note, you don't need 10, 20, 50 rupee note. 10, 20, 50 will never give you the value of 500. But if you have a 500 rupee note, 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, all is fulfilled. This is spiritual science. So this is the perfection of a devotee, that his only desire is to achieve association with the Supreme Personality. Such a devotee undoubtedly approaches the Lord without difficulty. This is called yoga. Yoga means actually connection or linking up with the Supreme Lord. That is called yoga. Yoga is not physical drill. Physical drill, what you will do? You'll only be able to maintain the body fitness. But actually, yoga means connection, linking up. It comes from the Sanskrit word which is called yujya. Yujya means to connect. So yoga means, so we say karma yoga. So through the actions, what we do? We connect with the Lord. We perform actions for the pleasure of the Lord. And then we say jnana yoga. So through the study of Vedas, we connect with Him. And we also say bhakti yoga. So through the process of devotional service, we connect with Him. So this is called yoga. By the mercy of the Lord, such a devotee never comes back to this material condition of life. Shema refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. So for such a devotee who is dedicating his life, so Krishna fully reciprocates and protects him. The Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga. And when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to miserable condition of life. Krishna has explained that even in the 2nd chapter. He has given this principle that Neha Abhikrama Nasho Asti Pratyavayu na Vidyate Swalpam api yasya dharmasya trahite mahatosaya. He says, I protect him. How he protects him? Here he is giving the detail. Yoga Shemam Maha. We have seen in our practical life So many hundreds and millions of examples that how Krishna personally protects. We know so many devotees who do not have any resource or any source of income. But whenever there is some yatra or whenever there is some, association of devotees in any part of the world, they are able to travel. So how do they manage the travel? Someone comes and sponsors their ticket, or they find invitation coming from somewhere. So we perform so many yatras, and in our yatra from IRS student, we do not charge to the extent that we pay. We give a little bit of rebate. But never in our yatra there has been any deficit. How it happens? By human calculation, it is impossible. There are so many online viewers who are hearing. Most of my students, they are all witness. Our transcendental accountant is also there, Ravindra Prabhu. Ravindra Prabhu, you're hearing? Never ever there is any deficit. We made such a big Janmashtami celebration here. Collection was 14,000 and expenditure was 75,000 from this IRI campus just 15 days back. How much was collection? 14,000. You all people collected? 14,000 something was collection and expenditure was 75,000. But all of it has been covered. We find that every day happening in practical experience. But the purpose was not for self-gratification. The purpose was for celebration of Krishna's birthday. There are so many examples. When Prabhupada was preaching, one of his disciples, he started the San Francisco Center. This is how we begin, Like we find one devotee here, we start preaching. We keep inviting, very few will come. But do we ask any money from any one of you? Does anyone give any rupee? But the program happens, there is some expenditure also. Who pays? You don't pay. No, none of you pay. Any one of you contributing? We never ask also. Who is contributing? From where is the money coming? From where is the resource coming? From this principle, Krishna says, Yoga Shema Mahat. So they started this San Francisco Center. So they rented a place and started to preach. But every month they had to pay rent. And then when the preaching grew, there were many devotees who were coming. And when devotees are coming, in Krishna consciousness, we also offer them free prasad. You all get free prasad every time. No Krishna conscious movement is complete without prasadam. So what happened that they could not pay rent for 2 months. And the landlord became furious. He said, you people are beggars. You don't have money. Then vacate my place. And winter was also coming. In San Francisco, America, winter is much more severe than what we have in India. So it requires carpets to sit on the floor. It requires heating. And it required money from that. So that devotee, he has written in his experience, Shyam Sundar Prabhu, Prabhupada disciple. So he was coming from his apartment at 6 a.m. in the morning. It was November. It was a little cold. And when there is cold, there is also this fog, hardly any visibility. So what he saw $1 bill, they call in the America dollar bill, flying and coming close to him. So it touched him, it touched his body and, fell down. So he picked up and saw it was 100 rupee dollar. Then many more came flying. There were 30 such notes. He picked up, he looked everywhere around, no one was there. And he went to the center. There were 2 months arrears of rent to be paid, new carpets to be made, and the grocery store 2 months arrears were also to be paid. Everything was paid in. Actually, Krishna provides. I personally witnessed that many times. But this principle should be followed. If the principle is not followed, it will never work. If there is any selfish motivation or if there is any selfish interest, this principle will never work. So Krishna says, what is the principle? Ananyas Chintayantam. One who worships me with exclusive devotion. Devotion means that one wants to satisfy Krishna. Not he does not want to satisfy his own self, or his own senses, or his own mind, or his own whims. If that principle is there, the Krishna says, Yoga Shemam Maham. And the biggest yoga shame he does is at the end of the life, when one is about to leave his body. So Krishna comes and carries the devotee back home, back to God. And that is the testimony of so many devotees we have witnessed. So this is the advantage, or this is the actual benefit of worshipping Krishna, because Krishna is one Supreme Personality of Godhead who openly declares in Bhagavad Gita. Nowhere you will find any other avatar of the Lord declaring so boldly and so emphatically that if you worship me and if you abide by my principles, I take the responsibility, full responsibility. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshasyami pascha. But even after that, the takers are very few. Okay, so this is what Krishna is here, how Krishna reciprocates with his devotees and how the demigod reciprocates with their devotees. So this is the contrast which we have discussed to some extent. This is a very big subject matter. It can be discussed to various levels depending upon the interest of both the hearers and the knowledge of the speaker. So this is a very, very important principle of Yoga Shemam Vahamya. Krishna is willing to take full responsibility for those who are ananyas chinte, not partial, or not sometimes, not like Monday going to Shivaji, Tuesday going to Hanumanji, every day going to different demigods and asking different rules and desires to be fulfilled. Okay, so my time is up. I think, just 4 minutes past 9. Very clearly, Krishna is giving a contrast. As we sow, so shall we reap. If you put a Karela seed, you will not get grapes. You will not get grapes. So we have to see what seed we are planting. Okay. Hare Krishna. So I'll stop here. If you have any questions or any doubts, please ask. Yes, madam. Yes. Good. Now see, actually, if we are hearing, so it should bring inquisitiveness in our heart to inquire. The awakening is all about inquiry. Our Vedas say, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. That if one has come to this human form, then he must inquire. Yes, madam. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Ask. Yeah.
It's very clear that I'm a father.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here he is saying that I will say those who are devoted to me.
Exclusive devotees, man.
Exclusive.
Yeah. Yes.
So those are also the children also.
Yeah. Good question. Very good question. Like you are a teacher or you are a scientist. Yeah. All are your students. But are all students your favorite students? Yes or no? Which student will be your favorite student? No, it is very clear. See, like your mother. But your motherhood is the same for your son and for all other children? Is it the same? What sets apart? Only one thing, that is obedience. To the extent we obey our authority, what we gain is on her favor. And what turns them away is disobedience. So where is the merit? The merit is in accepting the authority, not becoming rebellious. A person who is rebellious and a person who is obedient, how can they be treated the same? A person who is a criminal and a person who is law-abiding citizen, how can the government is protecting all the citizens. Can it give equal treatment to both? Can a criminal challenge the government that you are mistreating me? Or you are doing some, injustice to me? Or you are responsible for your act. So you are being punished. So he is giving knowledge. He is giving the solution. And he is not forcing upon us. It is our choice. Whether we accept or we deliberate or we experiment. After speaking the entire Bhagavad Gita, he tells Arjuna, Yatha ikshasi tatha kuru. I have explained everything to you. But now it is your choice. Dhritarashtra also heard Gita, na? 1-1. But what was the result? What advantage did he get from hearing Bhagavad Gita? No advantage. Most of the hearers are in the category of Dhritarashtra, not in the category of Arjuna. If we get even one person in the category of Arjuna, then the success is completed. Krishna waited for Arjuna. In the Bhagavad Gita, he is saying, Sa kalena mahata yoga nashta parantapa. This knowledge which I am giving to you, Arjuna, it was lost in the course of time. Then why did Krishna not give this knowledge again when it was lost in the course of time? Because there was no qualified person to be spoken to. So it depends on the individual. You decide to come, your husband does not decide to come. Then how can both be the same? God is not giving any partiality. It depends. We must make our correct choices. And we are responsible for our own choices. So depending on what choice we make, then we will receive the result or reaction. Then we cannot make anyone else to be liable for our own action, for our own discrimination. Okay? Are you satisfied or not? Very important. Actually, our destiny is in our hand. No one else is responsible. What choices we make today, that will determine what will be our destiny tomorrow. So that is why Krishna is giving this knowledge, so that we can make the right choice. That is why he is giving this comparison. Ekatvena prithaktvena bahuta vishuto mukha. And then he's contrasting with his own worshippers. You see the demigod worshippers, they are going to the demigods only to fulfill their desires. All the demons, they don't worship the Supreme Lord. They worship the demigods. And what is the result of their demigod worship? They are all slaved. Devotion means that you do not think of anything of your own self. What is the self? The self is the soul. The soul is the part and parcel of the Supreme. So if you are actually thinking about yourself, then you are thinking in the interest of the Supreme. That is what we were discussing. Everyone wants to experience that love. Everyone wants to experience that joy of the heart. But for that, one has to come to the spiritual platform. The spiritual platform means no selfish or material motivations. In demigod worship, why people are keeping Navratri for only 9 days? Navratri will come. It is only for 9 days. 9 days they will not eat chicken, mutton, even onion garlic. Why? Because they want to please Devi. Why they want to please Devi? So that they can get material profits. And after Navratri is over, all their restriction and regulation is also. Then they will do all nonsense. It is actually worship. Is there any devotion there? So it's a trade business. So we cannot fool. Whom are we trying to fool? Only ourselves. Yeah. So that is why when we say devotion, it applies only to the Supreme. Okay? He is saying they are all indirect worshippers. But he is giving us the direct way also. Okay? Thank you. Oh, you have a question? Okay. If you remain on the topic, I'll be, very grateful. You want to drink? So, Som is moon. Yeah. And what the moon gives? It gives so much of nectar, juice. Nectar, juice, yeah. So those who are performing these Vedic rituals, so their aspiration is to drink Soma juice. And the most degraded form of Soma juice is what we have in this world, which is called as liquor. Or alcoholic drinks. So Soma juice is the ambrosia. It's called the liquor of the demigods. Yeah. So it is there available. And when our scientists go to moon, what they find? They don't find Soma juice. What they find? They find sand because they have never gone to. They can never go to. Why? Because to go to moon, this qualification is required. What is that required qualification? Traya Vidya. Put Papa. Put Papa means free from all sins. When you have profuse piety by studying of Vedas and performing sacrifices, then you can go to the moon planet. Not in this body, not with your artificial material space satellites. Not possible. It's a complete farce. Just not possible for anyone to go on moon planet. These people will go on moon planets. Traividya, Put Papa, they can drink so much. Our scientists are going there and finding sand on moon. And when the moon rays come here, it is so cooling and so refreshing. From that sand, this coolness is coming. Yeah. Okay. So these are, thought-provocative principles. But the problem is, no one is there to hear, then to properly assimilate or contemplate, and then to apply. So such inquisitive souls will be very few. Krishna says that, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate. After many, many births, those who are in knowledge will actually try to find me. Others are trying to find all material gains, which will end with this body. Okay, so one should not be blinded enough to follow the blind way. Actually, what we discussed today, that there are only 4 things to be solved. The purpose of human life is to solve the problems of birth, death, old age, and disease. If we are endeavoring in this direction, then the human life is success. Everything else is complete farce. So how to do that? Krishna is giving the solution. Okay. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. And a full mantra, it starts with Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. For those who are students here, we have one announcement. We have a very, mega spiritual event in Indira Gandhi Indoor Stadium on 12th of October. It is for the age between 25 to 35. Yeah. Between 25 to 35. So those who are youth can register. Where is Dolamani? Achha. So Dolamani has the details. You also have the details, Swati. You can meet those who are students here. And those who are teachers, they can become special invitees if they want to come. Or those who are professors, yes. Okay. Thank you all very much. So please join us for Krishna Prasad dinner. Hare Krishna.